Hello, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside. As you can see, our showroom is now coming along a little bit. I just thought I'd go through a few of the clocks that you've already seen in the process of us doing some work. There's the drop dial clock. It's about 1840, double fusee. It's been cleaned up now quite nicely. The movement's absolutely beautiful in it. So there's that first clock. I mean, I think you remember our bracket clocks, don't you? The ones that we were doing some work on the case. I mean, that one there has had some dial work done on it. The dial doesn't look too bad. There is a patch of paint there, as you can see quite closely. I couldn't really get it any better, if I'm honest. I mean, I think obviously it's obviously the type of paints obviously you're going to use now compared to what was happening then in probably about 1840. It is a bit different, but as you can see, the casework, it's quite nice. It's turned out quite beautiful. It is a lovely clock. I'll just turn it round for us and we can have a look at the movement in it. As you can see, the movement is absolutely beautiful now. It's been completely cleaned up and it works absolutely perfectly, striking on the hour. And as I say, everything has been done correctly. None of the panel pin effort, we've put it in correctly with wooden things like the beading and things like that. So there's that. That's a really nice bracket clock now. So that's offered for sale really, if anyone would be interested in it. They're very welcome to get in touch and we'll sort out some kind of price. But you are getting a fully restored, sympathetically restored bracket clock. It stands probably, I'd say 18 inches tall. It's a double fusee, so that's the type. Then we have this next one, which is what we were calling the steeple clock. As you can see, it's in absolutely first class condition. Everything has been done as it should be done, and done traditionally. Crack in the back door, but really, I mean, you've got to say to yourself, how far, it's part of it. But again, the movement is absolutely beautiful. No name on it, unfortunately, but this clock was actually sold in Bonhams quite a few years, I think 2008, for about £1,900 at the time then. I mean, I haven't valued it up yet, but again, it is for sale if anybody's interested in looking at it. I'm going to do a better feature on my other channel about the clocks, and I'm going to do a bit more of a talk about the type of clock it is and what they are. But this is really just a quick video I just thought of doing. We have our various other clocks up top there. These are actually what I would consider a reproduction railway clock really. They're certainly not original or real, but they are double fusee. They're of reasonable quality for what they are. Probably made, I would say, in the 1950s, this type of clock. That's a skeleton clock, as you have probably seen before. That's the one that was actually constructed by my grandson. And I put that in a Victorian glass dome. And there's the Vulemy you've actually seen before. Again, it's up for sale. I'm just selling that as a single fusee clock. Obviously, it was supposed to be Vulemy at one time. Someone said it was Vulemy. They tried to sell it to us as Vulemy, but obviously it's not, which we've made a bit more of a longer video. But again, movements has been absolutely taken care of. It's absolutely spotlessly clean. Everything's been done. So it's a nice little piece. It's obviously not real because we wouldn't be able to sell it at the price we're going to sell it for. But yeah, I thought I'd do a video there so there was no misleading in any way. Another quite interesting clock came in the other day to get some restoration work done on it. The lady brought it in. Her grandfather was a baker, obviously, in the King's Cross area of London, and she brought this nice clock in. I know it's nothing special, except that it's just got that interest, hasn't it? It's quite unusual. It's just got that interest. It's got a pretty basic spring-driven Smiths type movement, really. I would probably date it probably 1940s, maybe 1950s. Yeah, 1940s, I would think, that sort of era. If we sweep over, as I say, you've seen these couple of clocks. That's quite a modern Committee of London. That's obviously just the name. It's got a Hamley movement in. Very, very nice clock, though, to be honest with you. It's really lovely chime on it. It's Hamley. It's not a Cainger, which are quite nice, but it's not one of them. As I say, you've seen our bracket clock. This is a reproduction, I would say, lantern clock with Thomas More on the front of it, single-handed, I think around about 1960s, but works perfectly without any problems. It's got the type of movements in, aged to make it look real. So you don't really polish them up, because that's the way they are supposed to look, with the fake Brasso effect and stuff like that. And then if we sweep around, we've got our usual granddaughter clock there. That clock there is the grandfather clock that'll be going to auction on Monday. The Monk I'm going to keep. We're going to do some work on that, and we're going to get it. We've made some feet and stuff for it, so that's going to get some work done on. If you look down there, Steve has made the feet for it. They're going to be getting fitted to it, just to lift it a bit, and the top will be getting some spandrels. But he's made these feet for it, and they're going to be getting fitted. They've been, scrolled out, but they're nice. We're trying to get it to match as good as possible. Hopefully we'll get it blended in more with when we do our final polish. That clock there will be going on Monday to auction. We need space, really, because of a lot of restoration work we're doing of grandfather clocks. We need them obviously to go there. We're getting a lot of case work in now, so we're gonna make space. But so that's gonna go to auction as well. Lovely clock, but we may get a couple of bob for it. Who knows? Unfortunately, the cost of grandfather clocks are quite down in price. They're not great sellers at the moment, being honest. It's more this line of stuff, bracket clocks and smaller. Yeah, we have a few carriage clocks. We've got a few clocks down in my little library there. We've got about 3 carriage clocks in stock. Obviously these are just repairs, really. So for January we're quite busy at the moment. We're quite busy. Things seem to be picking up. The beginning of the month was very slow, but now it's picking up some pace now. So yeah, so one last scan around our room. There's our grandfather clocks, as I say, soon to be just the 2. So the Monk's grandfather clock. I kind of like his clocks. I mean, I like that one. It's a really honest clock. It looks to be totally original, to be fair. It looks to be dead right. So I'm going to keep all that. This clock here, it's fairly basic, isn't it? I'm just going to let it go to auction. I could probably get more money if I scrapped it for parts, but there you go. That clock there, again, 3-weight Westminster chime, Whittington. That's a granddaughter clock. Kind of like that clock, so again, I'm going to keep that. I'll probably keep that. I'm probably keeping that for myself, actually. I'm going to do a bit of work on it and keep it for myself because I like the chime. It's nothing special, but, it is what it is. As I say, there's scanning around the room again. So I think the dial doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's a lot better than it was, except, as I say, I just couldn't get the colour match. I tried and tried and tried and tried. I mean, I must have painted it about 50 times over a 2-week period trying to get the colour match, and I tried all different colours, but I think it's based down, you're using sort of a watercolour now, because if you use a gloss, it's too shiny, and the only way you can get that effect is by using a sort of water-based type colour. And you know, it works, and then the pens, and then you know, it became really difficult, so I sort of left it at best results, and I didn't want to replace the dial, because I mean, you know, it's got some crazing on it, and I think that adds to the character of the clock. I mean, you know, it really does. It adds to the character of the clock. So I want to keep the clocks to be antique looking. I don't want them to be, you know, look like they've had too much restoration. I mean, obviously things like side panels, I mean, all that's lovely, and you know, we've done quite a bit of work on the side panels, and they look really, really nice. You know, they look really nice. I think they've got the keys with them as well. We had a bit of work to do on the feet, the ball feet on this one. I mean, someone had tried to fit them, and they'd used like plastic plugs and stuff, and they'd started to separate, you know, this veneer here. So we've got all that back as it should, and you know, really tightened it up using clamps, and you know, it's turned out quite well. But you know, you're always, and then the problem, you've got to try and get it to blend with everything then, so it looks dead right. You know, bits of the bead was missing along the top here. I mean, we got all that back on again. We just give this a bit of a sympathetic polish, same as this, sympathetic. We never, you know, same as that. We've got buffer machines, and we've got everything to do it where we can get them looking absolutely, you know, like a brass door knocker if we wanted to. But we don't. We have a look at the clock itself, and we sort of look at the worst spots, and then when we work on them bad spots, we get that, see how well we can get that, and then that determines the overall situation of the clock. It determines everything then, and we work to that so that it's going to look right. It's going to look right. We have our French clock down there. I think we've seen all these before. That's just a spring driven, probably about the year 1900. It's like it's a Junghans, that's what it is. Yeah, it's a Junghans clock. And then we've got our usual French stuff there. Don't know what that is at the moment. I haven't looked at it. It came in ages ago and was just put in the case. I don't know much about it at the moment. But yeah, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside, just signing off, and hopefully I've got a nice interesting video which I'm gonna put up. We got a skeleton clock in for restoration, and the guy, he's actually, you know, obviously a skeleton clock, you'd have two winding arbors in effect. You'd have one for your mainspring and one obviously for your cone. Well, he's actually wound up the mainspring one, and he's took it that far that it's literally, the lid is banged, exploded off it, and it's bent, you know, the frame and everything's bent on the clock. So I'm going to do a video on that to take it to pieces, and part of it's going to be interesting and to see what we can actually do and see what damage has been done. And also is obviously for a bit of a reference for the guy, because as of yet, I've not estimated what we're going to do yet with that clock. I mean, it's obviously a service to start, and then we have to go from there. But there you go. So there's just a couple of our clocks. We have a few more that are going to be added. But, you know, as I say, we're not going to be wildly selling tons and tons of clocks. It's going to be more and as we sell, I'm going to buy good stuff and better stuff. Anyway, this is John from Clock Repairs Merseyside. Have a great evening. Thank you.